Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim series. Today we've got a bit of a different episode for you. I'm going to tag this in the vein of things we forgot to do earlier and we've just decided we may as well do them now. So, put on your mufti gear, I guess, because we're going to be doing a bit of catch-up. Now, I've done a bit off camera. I did a bit of exploring down in the Ashlands, looking specifically for another fort. But on top of that, I was also looking for more flametal. And as you can see on our little map there, we found a lot of flametal. And we ended up mining 3 of the spires off camera, and that pile of smelted flametal in the chest before, that was the proceeds from that. Ironically, I don't have a lot of uses for flametal at the moment because I need the gems from the fortress. So stay tuned, we will be raiding a fortress very soon. But in the meantime, I decided I need to finish the Hilda quests. Yes, with the gear and the food I have right now, it's definitely overkill. Do I need anything from Hilda? No, not really. This is more of one of those, unfinished business kind of efforts. So we've just transported a portal over here to the sealed tower. And our mission here is going to be to access the sealed tower, get inside and kill the dudes we've got to kill to retrieve Hilda's chest. Now, the sealed tower is named not for irony, it is actually sealed. There is no way to access it from the ground. What you end up doing is building up to a fairly high point. Yes, I could easily have used ladders for this, but the last time I did this with ladders, I ended up falling off a few times because ladders are a little bit tetchy sometimes, and sometimes you get kicked off when you're not intending to get kicked off. So this time I thought I'm going to do stairs. And as you can hear from the maniac giggling from inside, there is no shortage of gobbos in this tower. So we will have a lot of them to kill. So stay tuned for that. But for the moment, we've got a bit of exercise here, building our stairway to heaven, so to speak. Main thing to remember is to put a bracing piece into the tower, because the tower counts as the ground, so it will give you a point of, maximum kind of stability, from which you can continue to build up and up and up. So, we've almost reached our entry point here. So I'm going to stop driveling on about this, that, and everything else, and I'll let you enjoy the spectacle of me murdering a bunch of gobbos in the interest of retrieving a chest. Now, we did run low on wood up at the top there, so we came down and grabbed some more, but the astute viewers will notice that we've picked up something else. That's right, we had a few ooze bombs back at the base, so we've brought some of those through with us. And you might think, well, why don't I just get out the trusty door knocker Mark, 3297 and, beat the stink out of them? Well, funny thing about that, it damages your own structures as much as it damages theirs. So what would in effect happen is I'd smack my door knocker Mark III down a couple of times, and without a parachute, I would hit the ground, very, very quickly, and I wouldn't actually make very much progress in terms of, knocking down doors and walls and things to get inside the tower. So, using the ooze bombs, they only damage, critters, they don't damage structures. So, that's the reason for the selection, and it proves to be quite effective here. I was thinking I could actually get in through this window, but I can't. However, I can't be certain that the gobbos can't in turn get out through this window, or worse still, do some damage to my stairs. So I had to stop there for a moment and ensure that the available gobbos there were all dead, so that my stairs would be safe and secure. Now, with our inability to get in through that window, we're now going to push on up the tower, with a minor distraction there that one of the gobbos fell out from upstairs, came down and, destroyed our workbench. I'm not going to stand for that sort of thing, so we sent him on his way, rebuilt the workbench, and now we're back to the fun that is trying to force ourselves into this lovely sealed tower. I did have to use the ladders here just to get the height to work. I'd much preferred to not have used the ladders, but you're about to see in a minute that I do go a little bit nuts with work health and safety protection rails, because I don't want to come barreling out of here and then, do that whole I can see my house from here for the few seconds it takes to then, hit the ground and possibly leave a substantial crater. So, yeah, anyway. I was contemplating using the door knocker there, but on evaluating the floor being timber and the height to the floor below being quite substantial, I didn't want to run a risk of, destroying my only method of getting out, so we're just going to use our little one-handed mace for a little bit, but when we get further down and we are on a stone floor, oh yes, we are definitely going to be taking our little friend out for a run. Now, just like the other Hilda dungeons, you're going to notice that the critters that you come across, yeah, they're all 1 stars. So you may want to bear that in mind if you're considering doing this with just Plains gear. You can definitely do it in Plains gear. You will find the shamans to be a little bit of a handful sometimes. And the boss is definitely a bit of a handful in Plains gear. But I have done it before. You just need to be super careful. Obviously in Ashland's gear, which is what I'm in now, this is, well, I won't say trivial, but it's near enough. Yes, waste not, want not. I'm just hurling all the metal scrap and whatnot out the window where I can pick it up more easily. As the day is advancing, in fact, I believe the sun is going down at this moment, it is getting a little bit dark. Now, I have previously been getting in the habit of lightening up the videos, but we're about to get to a spot and a fight where trust me, you're not going to have any trouble at all seeing what's going on. So I kind of didn't bother lightening things up until after we're done with this fight. Now, specifically, this fight is the boss that we have to kill in order to secure the Hilda's chest. Now, the thing is, this is not just one boss. It's actually 2 bosses. It is a Gobbo Berserker of sorts with a shaman on his shoulders. Now, did I really need to pop my bone mass buff there? Nah, not really. But I just wanted to knock this guy down nice and quickly, and I just couldn't be bothered standing there and, you know, blocking attacks and blah blah blah. And there we go. Dispensed with, and we have our chest. One other thing I'm going to point out here in a moment, and this is worth bearing in mind if you're planning, I don't know, maybe not a speed run, but you know, you're planning on doing things a little bit differently. I hadn't ever actually thought to confirm this for myself, but I'd long been told that there are chicken eggs in the chests in this room. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll go while I'm here. I'll have a bit of a look around and just confirm 100% that that is what's going on. And sure enough, here's 2 chests, and each one contains a single chicken egg. So you can unlock chickens and the associated, benefits thereof before killing Yag. So normally you don't, like on the trader, the chicken eggs don't get unlocked until you've killed Yag. But you can get the eggs from, the basement there of the sealed tower. So something to bear in mind just in case you're a bit curious or you want to see if you can, get access to chickens before Yag. That's how you do it. Now, we've done a bit of a fast forward. I did actually wander over, I left that chest in the I left that chest in the chest. Sorry, that's an interesting sentence to try and get out. I left the Hilda's chest in the wooden chest next to the portal because, of course, those chests cannot be teleported. Yeah, I do have portals now that get around that, but I just couldn't be bothered. It was going to take more time to get the mats for a stoneworking bench down there. I just thought, no, I'll pick that up with the boat at some stage. But before I arrange to do that later in this episode, we have one other boss for Hilda that we need to get rid of. And it's the one that's in the frozen cave. So we've identified a howling cavern on the map, not that far from where the trader is. So we just took the mats for a small boat through the portal, sailed over here, and we're just going to run up the side of this mountain and see what we can do about killing that boss. Now, technically, this boss is easier than the one that we just did. That said, though, I don't think I'd be wanting to do it with, much less than plains level gear, to be sure. And here we are with Birdie Num Nums warning me once again that the contents of this particular dungeon is going to be a little bit more challenging than one might normally expect. Clearly Munin, that's not Munin, that's just Birdie Num Nums. Clearly Birdie Num Nums hasn't been keeping up with events because in this gear, this is definitely not a challenge. That said, though, if you are trying to do this in lesser gear, you're going to want to, keep your wits about you. That this boss can be a little bit of a handful sometimes. Some of it comes down to just the environment or the part of the cave that the boss is in, because these caves are all randomly generated. And if you're not lucky, the fight might not necessarily give you a lot of places where you can take shelter to dodge some of the attacks or to recover health. Most of the time when I've had this boss to do, I've been fairly fortunate, but I think that boss has actually managed to kill me a couple of times before. So, yeah, be a bit careful with this one. Now, one other thing of note here, we're about to get attacked by a bat. ow, that really hurt. No, I'll stop the sarcasm now. The bat, there's a relevance to that bat. Once you kill a bat in one of these frozen caves, it enables the Cauldron Stirs, or whatever it's called, raid for your base, and you will get a cloud of bats attack your base. Now, they love going after your domesticated animals, and this is why I like to fully enclose my pigs and things like that, is it does help protect them from the bats. Without that, the bats will definitely kill pigs. I haven't had much experience with them attacking chickens or any other, mobs. Around the bigger domesticated, animals, so loxes and askvens, obviously they can fight back, but they also do a lot of damage to structures around them when they fight back. So this is one of the reasons why I've left it this long to come into the cave to do this boss, is knowing that there can be quite a bit of potential inconvenience in terms of base raids that may come out of it. So, yeah, stay tuned for that one. Hopefully I get lucky and I don't get raided by bats. I mean, they're not that much of a problem. They're just annoying. But they do tend to kill animals. Anyway, I've waffled on about that enough. Here we are encountering our first round of Olv, or Ulfs, or whatever you want to call them. They're just werewolves, basically. You'll see them by the yellow eyes when they're asleep on the ground, and proportionally they don't actually have very much health for their level. They're probably a bit like the wolves in that regard, but they do hit really hard if you're only in, lower gear. So yeah, anyway, here is our boss that we have to kill. I didn't expect to come across the boss this early in the cave, but that's a bit of randomness in the old random generator that I wasn't necessarily anticipating. As you can see, they do a lot of frost-based attacks, and a lot of those do actually hit kind of hard, not to mention the claw attacks also hit pretty hard. So again, it's a boss that does have a fair bit of health for its level. It does hit kind of hard for its level, but if you're careful and you bring lots of pots and things like that, you shouldn't have that much trouble dispensing them. Alright, I elected to just put the rest of that cave in the editing bin. Really not much. Everything that you've already seen, we just ended up killing a few more olves and that was about it. So I've dropped all of that out of the episode. Here we are back with Hilda. We've now handed in both chests. And this is where all of the things spring out, and we can see all the lovely colourful displays. Do they have any function? Nah, not really. But we have now unlocked everything that Hilda has available, and we're going to go through that list now. It's just gear, fancy gear, simple gear, but it all does one thing. It reduces the amount of stamina usage for, tasks. So if you've got mega farms and you're constantly complaining about running out of stamina and how you could farm a lot faster if you didn't run out of stamina all the time, put a set of these clothes together and you will find they make a hell of a difference. The rest of the time, because they don't have any useful stats on them other than the stamina reduction, they're pretty much just decorative. But, you know, there they all are. If you're a bit curious about it, this is how you can get access to it. There's one other item that she sells, which is a barber's kit. That will allow you to put a base improvement down, and it's a way of recustomizing your character, so you know your hair color and whatnot. Having, you know, it's all the stuff that you would normally have at your character creation screen, essentially. But of course, once you've created your character, you don't have access to it. But through that little barber's thing, you can go back in and make some changes. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you have. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.